There is nothing more delightful than a sizzling hot dish right out of your own handcrafted wood-fired oven. And it's not just pizza we're talking about. You can prepare any dishes in your wood-fired oven that you can cook on your stove, in your oven, and even on your grill. Hardscape Materials at 116th and Memorial in Bixby, Oklahoma has everything you need to construct your own solid masonry wood-fired oven. So the oven we're building is going to be moved around our rock yard here, so we're constructing it on a heavy-duty concrete pallet. The reason we recommend such a massive footing is because when completed, this small oven will weigh in at around 8,000 pounds, and we want it to last a lifetime, so we are not going to cut corners on its footing. The recommended footing size is 18 inches deep, and for a 24-inch oven like this one, 55 inches wide and 70 inches long. This will leave us about a 16-inch hearth in the front for supplies and utensils. Make sure your footing is good and level, and we are ready to start. This oven is a 24-inch dome and entrance tunnel, and the walls and floors will be full thickness Firebrick. It's a good idea to lay this out on your footing so you get a feel of how it will go together. There will be 6 inches of stone around the whole thing and a lot of insulating concrete all around the dome to hold the heat in for a long time. Lay the legs out, and this is a good modular dimension so you will not have to cut any blocks. Typically, you will put the back wall at the back, but it makes it hard to crawl in and get wood and clean it out, so we've elected to put the divider wall in the center and have 2 wood storage areas. Let me point out that there is a bottom and a top to all blocks. The top has a little wider surface that makes it easier to trowel on the mortar. Laying blocks is not that difficult. Mix your mortar fairly wet, about the consistency of whipped cream or peanut butter. Gather about 1/3 of a trowelful and trowel it out. Butter the ends by slinging about a 1/4 trowelful and scrape or trowel it on the end of the block and press it down a little so it sticks well, and then float the block into place. I say float because you want to be able to tap it into place, and if you drop it down too hard, it squishes all the mortar out and you don't have any cushion to tap it down level. Now, assuming your footing is level, all this rough-in work is never going to be seen, so don't waste a lot of time trying to make it too perfect. We are going to strive to be within 1 inch on this rough-in work, and if your footing is a little out of level, then it's a good idea to level your first row. Next, start on the second course and strive to break up any straight joints. Proceed with 4 courses of these blocks. Next, we are going to lay some partition blocks down flat to achieve our ideal height. To finish this row off, I could cut a long block or just lay a few bricks, which I happen to have on hand, and that wraps up the block work. Now, this next step is optional, but it only costs about 20 bucks to stucco the inside of your wood storage bins, and I think it's worth it. And there is no better time than while you have it wide open. The first coat is called the brown coat or the scratch coat. It goes on 1/4 to 1/2 inches thick. This coat hides the joints and disguises any imperfections. We are not trying to put a texture on this coat. Then I'll make a little rake out of styrofoam and nails to rough up the surface a bit so the finished coat can latch on better. Up to this point, it's taken me about 4 hours. Begin by rubbing the scratch coat with the brick to knock off any boogers. Then with Type S mortar, apply a textured coat 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. We are applying some circular motions with our trowel for this look. Next, lay a bed joint in preparation for the precast spans. It will take 4 of them and 2.5 4-inch partition blocks. Float these on and don't fret if they're not perfect. Now, lay on a wood frame at least 2 inches thick. This must be very level as it will be what the Firebrick floor sets on. Next, we will mix up some insulating concrete to pour into this form. Use a 4 cubic foot bag of perlite or vermiculite and 1/2 bag of Type S cement. Compact this with a 2x4 and add more as necessary. Then screed this off to the top of the forms. Go over this with a trowel to knock down any boogers that might have popped up. Next, lay down the Firebrick on the fresh insulation mix. Break the joints in a running bond pattern. Tap down any bricks which may be thicker and sticking up a little. Position the entrance tunnel and scribe it with a pencil or marker. Set the dome and scribe a circle. Then lay the Firebricks as shown using heat stop mortar. Work your way around with Firebrick and mortar to the entrance tunnel. Next up, mortar and lay the Firebrick on edge and make sure they are level. Work your way completely around the Firebrick and add a bed joint for the dome. Set the dome, and while you still have heat stop mortar, go ahead and install the flue section and level it. That concludes part 1.